It's closed. I like it. Anyway, it's been a spectacular day, and yeah, truly nature showing off for all of us. So I want to welcome you, and we've got a really big couple of days ahead of us. And I asked you all to do some homework. Did anyone do their homework? Did anyone not do their homework? Okay, well, good luck for you. And why I say that is, luckily for you, I'm going to make time for you to do your homework. But before we do the homework session, I just want to kind of get us in the room, and I want to set some perspective. So you should have a little goodie bag that you've all got. Have you all found the toilet? Men's and ladies are outside, and there's actually a toilet right there in that door there. So if you feel like you can't make it up the stairs, it's right there. You've got a pad, you've got a book, and then you've got a little thing that the team has printed out for you about the Knysna seahorse. So you can read all about that. And then there's an agenda at the back. Here's the agenda. I would not pay a lot of attention to the agenda. I'm serious, because this is an interactive session. So the way that myself and the Calio team work together is we improvise depending on where the conversation goes. The only thing I do need you to pay attention to is the start times. That makes sense? So just to be clear, we're in the room today, so that's fine. But for Wednesday, tomorrow morning, I'd like to start on time at 9 o'clock. So again, if you could try to be here sort of 8:45, seated, everything, so we can get going properly at 9. Is that fair? And same again on Thursday. And staying up late with me is not an excuse to be late. Okay. So please, in terms of tea breaks and lunch breaks, we're going to improvise a little bit based on the flow, and I'm not going to stop a session halfway through or whatever. So I wouldn't plan, if I was you, I would not try and plan a Zoom meeting or a work call or something, because I don't guarantee anything other than the start time. Is that fair? And particularly when it comes to the agenda, we'll cover all the topics that are in here, but maybe not at the same time that we say we'll cover them. Does it make sense? The only thing I do an agenda is to keep Bianca happy. Okay, so I think we've got everything there. Oh, and you got a pen. So there are. So you should be all sorted. Okay, let's rock and roll in terms of why we're here. So one of the biggest things that I learned and actually got reminded of, who knows Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad? Yeah? Anyone not know Rich Dad Poor Dad? Anyone? No? Okay. So quite interesting for me, that trip that I just went on, and he talks a lot about the quadrants and the E, the B, the S, and the I. And what I found really interesting is that to be in the investor quadrant, it's literally as simple, your money work for you. And my invitation to all of you, and the reason we're in this room, I'd like to believe, is to figure out how money work for us, and ideally work harder for us. Is that fair? So that's a collaboration, and if you want to just understand, Private Wealth Global is something that we put together between the Calio family office team and then ourselves in terms of the bigger picture. So between both of us, we're going to be putting this on. But as Garth said to me, we're not here to present at you. So my very big wish for all of you is that this is an engagement, it's a discussion, ask questions, there's no stupid question, please. So like there'll be a couple of presentations where we want to share the information, but a lot of the sessions are panels to be able to discuss. And I personally think if you want to watch presentations, you can watch them all day long on Zoom, you can go on YouTube all day long. For being in the room, whether you are physically here or online, is to be part of the conversation. So please be part of the conversation. Okay. And it's my real request that we had it in March, and there was a lady called Susanna who was here. And what was wonderful about her, she would ask the questions that often others would think, I don't want to ask that question because I feel stupid. And my real request is just ask whatever question you got. Because I virtually guarantee you, no matter what your question is, someone sitting next to you probably has the same question. Is that fair? Okay, so let's get into the intention of why we're here. And just in terms of the breakdown, if you look at it, the theme is expand, empower, and elevate. How do you master your wealth through diversification in terms of that process? So, can I play my video? Which audio? Alex? Skip it.
Yeah, skip it.
Okay. So let's go through what that means. So for me, expanding is about broadening your horizon. And what we're basically going to be looking at here is, let me just click through all this in terms of the process. So I want you, and what we're going to be doing is discussing all the different opportunities. We're going to be looking at deals. We're going to be thinking about, well, how do the top 1% do it? Why are they doing it differently to us? We're going to explore trends. One of the things we're going to discuss is the 6 mega trends. Because one of the biggest things when it comes to investing is knowing what are the trends. How do you actually participate? Because if you know where the world is going and you can plan for that, then it's going to make a massive difference with regards to you and your investments. Would you agree with me on that? The second thing is looking to success stories. Because one of the most important principles is to have belief. And if you don't have your own belief, that's fine. But if you're meeting other people, and particularly you that are in the room face to face, spend time with the others. Get to know people. What's your story? Why are you here? What's blocked you? What's been your successes? Is that fair enough? That's the way for all of us to expand. The second thing is all about empowering. And here we want to look at strategies. So tomorrow is really going to be the meat. Today we're going to set up the principles and the framework, and we've got a super exciting surprise for you later. I got a big smile on my face. I can't actually believe we've kept this so quiet and it hasn't come out yet, but anyway, it's amazing. We're going to be doing panels tomorrow, and tomorrow is where we're really going to get into the meat. Then on Thursday, we wrap everything up. So there's no point in getting all the theory without walking away with a plan. Does that make sense? So, and then the last thing is, on Thursday, it's going to be a lot about accountability. What's your plan? Who are you accountable to? How do we make sure that what we learn while we're here, we make sure we execute and implement upon? Because most of us, I know none of you are guilty like I am, but we come to events like this, they're super exciting. We go home on Friday, we feel amazing. And then on Monday, we get back to work. Life hits us in the face. You fight with the husband or the wife, the business partner or something. You forget about everything you just learned and you go back to what you used to be doing. And the only way to change that is to have a plan and to have an accountability partner. So that's all about empowering, taking charge. And the last part is about elevating. So it's about raising your wealth strategy. And this for me is about changing your habits and your mindset, which are absolutely critical. Secondly, it's about the different workshops and learning stuff that you haven't actually learned before. And thirdly, it's the community. It's the people in this room. And for the people online, Kelly's actually going to be facilitating the entire process so that when we do breakaway groups, they're also doing breakaway groups so that they can participate and learn and do it together. So that's the 3 things: empower, elevate, and the last part, which I believe is the single most important word that I would like you to walk away with after this event, is trust. Trust yourself, trust your plan, trust your partners, trust the information that you've got. I singularly believe, how much trust do you think we currently have in the financial industry? Full stop. If we're honest with ourselves, and I won't ask you to raise your hand, but how many of us have trust in our own plan? And some of us even trust in ourselves between, yeah, I want this and this and this, but we actually don't trust ourselves to get there. My wish for you, by the time we finish on Thursday evening, is that that word trust has fundamentally shifted in yourself, in your plan, in the partners to be able to deliver on it. That for me is the single biggest word that I would like us to get out of this Wealth Weekend. So one of the things that I think is extremely valuable is try and spend the time, not just in this room, but out there when we're having dinner, when we're having breakfast, having lunch, meeting with everyone, meeting with your fellow community, meeting with the different partners. That's what we're here to do. What I'm subtly saying is don't go to bed. Jeez, you're a tough crowd. What did you actually do today? Did you travel? Oh, wait, sorry, I forgot. Yeah. Anyway. Okay. I have to say this, and I'm not going to bring this slide up every time, but for the next 3 days, none of us are giving financial advice. And it's always difficult in this environment to do this from stage and everything in between. We're going to do our absolute best to share as much knowledge, as many mistakes, as many lessons, and everything in between. But if you want one-to-one advice, then you need to sit down with the licensed people who can actually do that. Okay, but it doesn't happen from stage. Is that fair? Anyone disagree with that? Can we take that as a standing agreement between now and tomorrow, Thursday evening? Okay, including the people online. So, we live in crazy times. All of the things that have happened, the different wars, the inflation, the costs, the insurance, the Trump attempted assassination, the Labour Dems winning, the government of national unity, Biden, Trump's landslide, the tariffs, Cyril Ramaphosa, and just yesterday, I probably should have added it. Did anyone see what's happening in England as of yesterday? Anyone? What's happening? Because I didn't even see that. I was more interested in the property thing. No, so in property, they literally, yesterday, I saw an article from a guy I know very well, it's called Simon Zutsky, where the Labour government is trying to get rid of capital gains tax and council tax. On the face of it, that sounds amazing, except that you only pay capital gains tax once, and transfer fees you only pay once. But they now want to charge a value tax, where they charge you on the value of your property every single year. That changes the rules of the game. I'm sure that many people around the world, many governments won't take long to follow. So one of the things that I think we've got to ask ourselves is, how do we protect our wealth? When I was at that investor summit, they did research around the world between business owners, entrepreneurs, professionals, and investors. And the single biggest fear that people have, that quadrant of people, is, how do I protect what I actually already have? I've worked hard for my money. How do I protect it? And so that's the question that I would like to keep up there the entire time. And this is something that we've built, which is brand new, by the way. And it's what we call the wealth blueprint. So it starts with belief and knowledge. Like, if you take the foundation of any great building, you need to have a solid base. You need the right belief and knowledge. The second thing is you've got 3 pillars. The first is a plan. It blows me away how few people actually have a plan. Secondly, you need access. You need access to the right information, the right partners, the right deals. Thirdly, you need systems. If you don't have your own systems, it's fine. Copy someone else. The next thing you need is accountability. And finally, you need trust. And if you put that together, you're ultimately going to have wealth, freedom, and legacy. This is brand new, by the way. No one's seen this. It was invented in the last week. But why it's important is because we want to bring together the different components, which are really, really important. And the second thing that's important is the paid framework. You need the right partners, you need access to the right deals, you need the right information, and you need diversification. You bring that all together, and that's ultimately what we call the paid framework. And the essence of what we're going to be doing for the next couple of days is those 2 fundamental principles. You've got the wealth framework, and you've got the paid framework. And we're literally going to go through each and every one of these. How do you find the partners, the access, the information, etc.? Because ultimately, that's how you get paid. So let's start off quickly with Wealth 5.0. Now, quickly, show of hands. Who was in the room in March? 1, 2. 2 people. Okay. Who knows what? So you 2 aren't allowed to answer. And I knew there'd be some people, so I need to do a little bit of repetition, so bear with me, because I've got to get everyone else up to speed. Is that fair? Yes? No? Okay. So who knows what Wealth 5.0 actually is? Have you ever noticed with me, Scott, there's Wealth 5.0, there's Diversification 5.0. Has anyone noticed that? Does anyone know why? Is the deafening silence because you don't know, or because you... Okay, so let me give you the essence. So I only ever share this, I've shared it with the mastermind, but I actually shared it for the first time at the Wealth Weekend in March, and I think it's actually really, really important in terms of as a principle. So you got Wealth 5.0, you got Diversification 5.0, but where does it actually come from? It comes from a thing that the Japanese came up with in 2020 called Society 5.0. How does it actually work? Well, we are going into a whole transition. We all know that. I mean, when you look at what has happened with AI in the last year or two, it's actually phenomenal. We're going to have a whole conversation around AI, by the way, because I think we have to. And what is so important is that we've gone from the hunter-gatherer society, 1.0, to the agrarian society. If I can figure out how to do this thing, might be able to point. No. Is there top left? Oh, there. 2.0 is the agrarian, 3.0 is the industrial, and 4.0 is the information. Just by the way, from 1980 to 2020, most of us have lived through the Society 4.0 information age. We are now in Society 5.0. Whether you like it or not, it's here. AI, big data, IoT, etc. Now, let's go into that in a little bit more detail. If you look over here, you've got the 3 or 4 at the top, and then you got 5.0. I love this slide because what is it about? Digital transformation times imagination and creativity of diverse people. What do you need to do? You need to problem solve and you need to create value. Something I teach my son often is, I'll tell you a little story. So he comes to me, I don't know where he gets it from, but he loves his rugby. So he comes to me and he says, Daddy, I want the latest Springbok rugby jersey. I don't know if you know, they cost 2,500 rand. I was like, sure. Is there any difference between this rugby jersey and last year's rugby jersey? Because you know how clever they are. Every year it changes slightly. So I was brought up in an environment where my parents would say, no, you can't have that. Whereas for me, the philosophy I try and teach my son is you can have anything you want if you help enough other people or if you add enough value. So I said to him, you've got about 8 boxes of toys in the garage. Why don't we sell the toys? And then with that money, you can buy the rugby jersey. And so I made a deal with him that if he sold them for more than 2,500 rand, then any of the more toys would go to charity for other children. So the story we went out with was, you got a boy, he's 13, he's absolutely besotted with the rugby, he would like a rugby jersey. He has 8 boxes of toys that you can't buy in South Africa. Most of those toys I bought in America and England when I was traveling. And when we hit 2,500 rand in money, the rest we'll donate to all the charities in Knysna so that they can get toys. Pretty cool story if you think about it all around. Do you know how long it took to raise the money? 20 minutes. 20 minutes, one phone call. So that for me is a classic example of value creation and solving a problem. And the best part about that whole story was I actually know the guy. His sister is a druggie, unfortunately. And so her 2 children have been going through child services here in South Africa. And there's not enough toys in child services in South Africa. So he spent the 2,500. He chose the best toys for his nephews. I think it's nephews, isn't it? And donated the rest to child services. So my son got a rugby jersey. Those 2 little kids that have grown up with a lot of problems with mommy and her issues got some beautiful toys. And child services of South Africa got 7 boxes of toys. Pretty cool, eh? That for me is what we mean by value creation. So I don't know if you know about the UN.
But it's very much. It's literally a systematic and formulated way that you can follow it. What is quite scary is the typical financial advisor is doing 1 out of the 9 steps. So we kind of want generational wealth and wealth protection and investments and all that, but they're not doing 8 of the steps. The next is the joint action. And this is where I find it really interesting, because what Bianca is going to take you through tomorrow is the different types, the different styles. Who are you as a person, your different profiles. And what's so interesting is different people take there's 9 different types of people. I'm not going to get into all the details today. But who you are and how you take action is going to make a big difference on how you get your results. You need to know who you are. And then once you know who you are, you need to ultimately have a plan. So this triangle that I'm sharing with you right now is the entire essence of tomorrow. Are you with me so far? Because what we're going to do in the morning, we're going to be discussing the macro strategies. What is happening with diversification? What are the major trends? What are the different asset classes? What are the opportunities? So you're going to understand all the big picture stuff. And then the team's going to take you through what is your wealth EQ? And this is where it comes down to who are you as an individual? Why do you make the decisions that you make in terms of why, what are the right asset classes for you? And more importantly, why do you make the mistakes that you've made in the past and how can you stop them? The second thing comes in, and then Anthony's going to take us through this section, which is all about portfolio construction. Now it's about, okay, great. So we know who you are as an individual. What are your current assets? Do you have pensions? Do you have property? Do you have stuff in the stock market? Are they good? Are they bad? Are they protected? What's your tax and structuring like? And now it's actually about taking your current portfolio and optimizing it and helping you build a stronger, better portfolio. With me so far? Yes?
Yes.
Jeez, we're going to have a long 2.5 days. And then finally, it's about bringing it all together with a plan. And I love what Anthony and Garth came up with, because they used to call this an ALM, as an asset liability model. And I don't know about the rest of you, but I hear liability doesn't sound so good. So I much prefer AIM, which is an asset income model. Great change in name, by the way. And
I'll give you a few other name changes as well.
but ultimately, this is what it looks like. And it's a comprehensive plan. And Anthony's going to take you through this tomorrow as to why you're doing this. What are the major phases in your life? How do you set yourself up for success? And what's so interesting with the typical financial planner is that they give you a plan for 75. So you literally work until you're 65, you retire at 65. Unfortunately, statistically, you die by 75. And if you outlive your money, it's quite a big problem. Yes? No? Okay. Well, this is where your assets, pay for your lifestyle. And then on top of that, hopefully create generational wealth in terms of where you're at. And then the fourth and final framework is your community. Who do you actually surround yourself with? And most of you have seen this video 1,000 times. I'm not going to play it because you can't hear it. But what I will show you is that as a group, we're going to get there 5 times faster than if we do it on our own. And all that we need is a group of like-minded people, a leader to follow, and then we're going to see real rapid life and transformational change. And that's why we're here. So that's the framework. And if you look at it on one page, it's literally, you understand what the different scenarios are. You apply the 4D blueprint, which is your insights, blueprint, action, community, and then finally you take action and secure your future. Makes sense? Can you see why I wanted to start with this? Because this will help you simplify quite a lot of complex information, which is going to happen over the next 2.5 days. Definitely getting ready for the reason.
I'm gonna have to try and buy too.
Okay. So I remind you of the 3 things that we want you to get out of this. Expand, empower, and elevate. And then it's all about trust. So before we go any further, I have a little game for you. And we're going to do this game on Thursday. So when God and Anthony and Bianca and Cara are all talking, I suggest you take notes. Because we're gonna have a test
Yay.
on Thursday to see how well you've been listening. And just by the way, this is a new game that's been invented. No one's seen it before, except for the people from Wealth Going Global today. And I'm really excited about it. I've been invited to speak with Robert this weekend in Johannesburg and Durban next weekend. And this is going to become quite an important framework that we can use it going forward for people to actually realize where they stand. So when I talk about Society 5.0 and the old economy and the new economy and all the things that we're going to learn over the next couple of days, we can actually see where we stand right now. And you know, if you've got a GPS, something that's really useful, what's the first thing a GPS does? It figures out where you are. Yes? And then it worries about where you want to get to. So let's get in the room. And before we actually get up our next session, I just want to take a little bit of time because I know how many of you, the moment Kenny or I said something, you all pay attention and do it straight away. But on a serious note, you'll see just one person as well. And I can just read one of them for you. So you'll see here what I've shared with everyone. And I'd really appreciate if we just take 10 minutes to fill this in. So, and I did send you a video yesterday to help you think this through. So the first one is my number one goal for this
We
weekend.
don't have that.
If I could only achieve one thing during the whole weekend, it would be, write it down. Number two, my top three priorities, the three areas I want to focus on are, and I'll just put some examples there: clarity, diversification, relationships, confidence, new opportunities, legacy, etc. Number three, why this matters. Why are these goals and priorities important to me right now? And then number four, I commit to fully showing up, focused, engaged, ready to take action on my goals this weekend. And then there's one extra line. When Scott makes a joke or asks for a comment, I promise to participate fully.
It's on the WhatsApp.
Yeah, and then you can sign the file and put the date on. And why I'm asking you to do this
WhatsApp
is to
anymore.
get intentional. I find it's really, really important that if you write down what it is you're looking to achieve, we've got a far better chance of getting it, particularly with panels and being able to ask questions and everything else. Then if you sit here and just go, oh, shoot, a whole bunch of information, I virtually guarantee you'll go home on Saturday. You'll be like, those are a hell of a lot. I don't know what to do next. But if you fill this one page in, and I would ask you to do one of two things. If you're not very good at looking after stuff, then give it back to Kim. And she'll look after it for you. And on Thursday, we'll give it back to you.
Yeah.
And if you're good at looking after stuff, then tell you what, we're not policemen. But don't come on Thursday and say, I forgot to pull the note up. So if you don't trust yourself, just change it. Or I would ask very sincerely, and Alex, if we're good, if you can just put some music on. Because I just recommend that we take, I think it'll take roughly 10 minutes. Everyone can fill this in. And then we can get in the room and just kind of get a sense of what everyone wants. Is that cool? Is everyone going? Yep.
Watch this.
You say something with me. When you beg on the little door, you only say you love me when you want me company. When you're laying on my bedroom door. Let's go now. Say. Give me your ball, nothing on quit. Say you love me. Listen. He's doing his moving day, but he was very natural. And he gave to us every I'm tonight for the how to that. I showed him how to love. And I for the how to that. It's the end. And it's all the how to that.
It's not a question.
Right, put that back in the pen.
Okay. You don't follow. You don't stop.
Sometimes I like to get slow. I have to show the boy because he didn't know. He was cute but so naive. So cute I wouldn't let him leave. Don't worry, boy, I'll show you how. But first I'll play it, I want it now. When you listen to that, show him how to move. I'm doing that. That's the
Yeah, you just got to get. I mean, I can do it. I've got tape at home, like but foreign. Oh, well, no, but that looks good.
Okay, cool. So all I'm doing for
Yeah. Kenny needs to man this, because that's we man permanent. The people in the groups, you got to get them back in the group, you know, all of that stuff, guys.
The Warrior is fixed now.
Yeah.
For the battery.
To be honest with you, I didn't switch it on. I think the problem was I was talking, no, you hear me, but I didn't switch this thing on at all.
Okay.
Okay.
For the battery.
Very good. Very good. It doesn't matter, just push your music up, I'll get time. Okay, let's get back in the room. So just one thing quickly, we're going to be trying to do lots of engagement stuff. So my recommendation, if you came with your mate or your husband or your wife or your daughter or your brother or something, I would strongly recommend that you actually do sit at different places tomorrow and on Thursday. Make sense? Because otherwise I'm going to have to get you to stand up and move, because I'm going to make it happen anyway. Okay, so for the people online, when I put you in breakout rooms, please go to your room. So anyway, Kelly will try and help, because we want to facilitate in the same way so people can get to meet and engage. So just one thing, I forgot to say this right up front. If you want the Wi-Fi code, it's South Africa, capital S, capital A, 2025. Okay. So let's just find out from a couple of people, what do you want to get out of this event? And just imagine that I'm a little fairy godmother. I know I look like it, but on a serious note, we're going to write it up And this is actually quite important because Garth and Anthony and Bianca and Karen and myself are listening. And if it's up there, we'll try and integrate and make sure it's incorporated. Does it make sense? So, shot. You said in your groups, what do you want to get out of why you're here? You're giving up 3 of 3 days of your life. It's really important for you. I understand that. Your time is extremely valuable to you. Why are you here? What do you want? Yep. Protect and grow your income. Yep. Okay, perfect. Yep.
Making these 2 connections that can help me build communities to going forward.
Yeah.
Accountability.
Make at least 2 connections. Perfect. For accountability, right? Yep. Okay. Yep. So, grow relationships with team. Yep. What else?
Identify my digital assets and create value out of it.
Identify your digital. Just explain to me what you mean by digital assets. So, is that a cryptocurrency? Is it? Okay.
Skill.
Okay. So, help me quantify what I'm writing down. So, grow your digital assets.
Create value. Give back.
Okay. So, grow my digital assets and create value. Okay, great. Create value from my digital assets. Great. Yep. Perfect. So, have the mindset of a wealthy person. Just do me a favor quickly. How old are the 2 of you? 13, 16, 21, huh? Ladies? 31? 27? Do you know when you're like less than 30, no one cares? I just want a quick little, I don't know if anyone's online. Kelly, can you just make sure that you're checking? Is anyone under 30 online as well? Can we have a quick round of applause for all of them in the room? I mean it sincerely, and I think what Kelly said there is so important. I meet people, and I'm sure Garth and Anthony, you meet people like this virtually weekly, where they go, I wish I'd learned this when I was 50. Or I wish I'd learned this when I was 40. Or I wish I'd learned this when I was 60. You're 13. My son's coming, I'll introduce you. No, I'm joking. No, he's also 13. But I think my point being is that, what Kelly said there is so important, because how do you get a put yourself in a room where there's people having these conversations. So I just want to acknowledge you guys for that. And to the rest of the parents out there, please, we've been doing these wealth weekends. I think the first one we did was 2014. And we've encouraged children to be here. And I'm not saying you guys are children, but literally encourage people to be here. And it actually irritates me how few people take advantage of that. So please, if we had another 6 rows of seats here, fantastic. That investor summit that I went on, 130 people, but 30 of them were what's called under 25s, and they even have scholarships, which, by the way, we need to start thinking about, because then you have scholarships for people that can actually be at these type of events if they can't afford to be here themselves. Really awesome. So you get to go to those really amazing events. Anyway, okay, good one. What else? Yep. Future-proof the direction. Yep. Okay.
Well said that I think.
Can I just ask everyone to put their phones on silent, please? I'd appreciate it. Let me make sure mine's not silent. Okay. Okay, well played, commit to and measure to, Judy. Okay. If you don't speak, it doesn't come up. Kelly, what about online? What do people want online? Okay. Do I need to take your things and go, come read them? What do you want? Not to repeat poor mistakes. Yeah, but I think my point being is that, so, you know, one of the things that we can write up there is exactly that, because with more knowledge, access to the right team, etc., we've all made mistakes, by the way. So what we're going to learn is help us try and make sure we don't repeat those mistakes. So I think it's great. Come on, let's get some more things on the board. We've only got 8. Yep. If you do a one-on-one coaching session with me, you know, we keep it short. So we'll just upskill myself, will be good enough. Yeah. Okay, so what is that? Pass on wealth and tax. Yeah, well, the people in the room get first access, but while they're quiet, keep going. Yep. What's the word we're checking? It's not even review, it's stress test current plan. Yep. Yeah. Let's have another one in the room. We'll come back if there's any more. Yep. Yep. Perfect. There was another hand I saw just next to it. Yep. Clarity and direction. Yep. Portfolio rebalancing. So I'm not going to write clarity again, but I'll put your portfolio rebalancing. Is that cool? Yep. Last one. Well, I tell you what, I enjoyed going to that investor summit. I really, really hope that a bunch of you come with me next year, because I would highly recommend it. Can I just say one thing that I found fascinating? So we play a game, which I might or might not play on Thursday with you. And it just depends on time. And it's this auction game, and you get to put stuff out. And you know, when you're a South African, you don't think that Americans want to come to Africa for all the reasons you hear about. And in simple terms, you put stuff out that you're going to give, but people trade and value stuff differently. And I invited people to come to Knysna for a 1-week holiday, and I beat a Harley Davidson. And the reason I tell you that is back to the global citizen thing. It's incredible the value people place on being able to come on holiday to Africa. And so few people in South Africa specifically actually value the fact they even live here. They wish they could go live somewhere else. And what I take a lot on what Garth's saying is that it's the ability to live in this country and experience it for all its greatness, but also have your assets not just tied to one country. Does that make sense? And the biggest takeaway for me from the Investor Summit was they were telling Americans not to have all their assets tied up in their own one country either, which I found really interesting. Yep, anyone else? Is that it? Oh, sorry, I didn't see a hand. Yep. Okay, diversify your portfolio. Kelly, any more from your side? Yeah. Geez, how do I write that down? No, but correct past errors, yeah. Yeah, I'm good. Sorry, where was it? Confidence in investor language. Brilliant. Okay.
There, finance, and what we look at the investment, what IRR, the, invest land. Yeah, so maybe the deal.
Yeah.
You know, when we are, how does that link to risk appetite?
I think, Garth, it's quite interesting. You know, this gentleman who's recently joined the mastermind, and he wasn't sure whether 5.5% in Rand was a good return. And he loved his financial advisor who'd recently passed away. And he literally said to me, I have no idea if that's good or bad. And I think to some extent what Mike's saying is that people don't understand like what is a good return based on different asset classes. Can I ask for a favor? Can you be our language champion? So what I mean by that, so I'm quite good at it, especially when they speak in funny language. So I try and call them if they say something or whatever. But if there is any term or language that you don't understand, and this is a challenge for all of you, please just raise your hand and say, you know, like one of us just chirp IRR and you're sitting there going, what the hell is IRR? Rather put your hand up so we can just tell you what it is. Makes sense, is that fair? Okay, so please, there's literally not a lingo or a language. It happens to me all the time. Ask Anthony when we have our monthly sessions. He talks like in this funny language over here, and I go, dude, what the hell are you actually talking about? So it's the same for all of us. Just ask the questions. It's far better to ask the question, yeah?
50 acronym for exactly the same thing as IR behind this. Sure, it's it.
Yeah. I did actually do a masterclass on Thursday night. If you weren't able to be there, I'd strongly recommend you watch it because I went through all of them. IRR, internal rate of return, cash on cash, return on investment, yield, all of them, just so people can understand. Okay, anything else? I'm conscious of time. We've got 10 more minutes or less. So this is that moment. Do you notice that they are listening? So if you put stuff up here, we can figure it out. Come on. Anything else? Kelly, anything from your side? Yep. Do what, sorry? Is another one?
Yeah. understand the construction of a portfolio and then you will have the knowledge to customize it.
Okay. So what number are we up to? 24. So 24 portfolio construction. Yep, yep,
Add another one.
yep,
But it's the fund package.
yep. Abundant attitude. Brilliant. Kelly? Money work for me, yep. We've done that one. Cool. Anything else from anyone else in the room? Otherwise, I can look to wrap up. No? Happy? Bit worried about this corner? Quite a quiet corner. You sure? Nothing else? Good? You guys? Yeah? Okay. Perfect. Okay. I think we probably, oh, sorry. Which hand am I looking at? Yours. Okay. So how we work or, sorry, just so I can clarify, are you trying to ask us how you can invest and make money? Or is that what you're asking? Because obviously we've got an affiliate program as well. So I'm just trying to understand which one you're talking about. The first one. Okay. So what is it basically? Can I just put how to use our systems? Okay, perfect. I think that's it, huh? Going once, going twice. Okay, let me read them back to you quickly. So what do we got here? Like this? Yeah. Next thing I have to do a handstand. All right. So we got protect and grow your income, make at least 2 new connections for accountability, grow relationships with the team, create value from digital assets, have the mindset of a wealthy person, future-proof the direction of my money, wealth plan, commit to and measure myself against, learn about other digital assets, crypto, upskill myself, pass on wealth and tax, key trends and opportunities, stress test current plan, how does the family office work, clarity on financial future, clarity and direction, and portfolio rebalancing. Global citizen, diversify my portfolio, increase passive income, correct past errors, knowledge, confidence in investor language, understanding returns, portfolio construction, abundant attitude, money work for me, good debt versus bad debt, and how to use our systems. Anything we missed? Anything triggered when I went through that? Are we good? Have we got a comprehensive? Yep. Okay. 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 So I'll just put down tax efficiency. Okay, so we got it. We're at 29. Come on, I'm a round number person. Let's get to 30. Must be one more thing. Okay, I got one. inspire you again. And I don't know if you remember this or know this, Corin, but it was literally a year ago, virtually to the week. Because I did that test with you about a year ago, minus 2 weeks. So it was the end of August. I stood on stage in Johannesburg now, literally this week, a year ago. And when I consider over the last year, the impact that that's had on my life, it has been profound. Absolutely profound. You know, I stood on stage in Joburg. I subsequently have been with Robert Kiyosaki. I've stood on stage all over the place. And I'm absolutely loving living life again. And so it's with a huge amount of gratitude that I invite Corin up here to come and share the big picture of how we can live our lives to the fullest. Does that make sense? And yes, we're here to talk about wealth and diversification and all these things. But let's set ourselves up for success before we even get started. And again, they're going to start today and they'll go into it in more depth. You'll have more understanding of what I'm talking about. But I hope for you, if she has just 10% of the impact she had for me, then mark me, this will be worth paying attention to. That's it.
Bless. Okay, so I have nothing to do with finance. So thanks for all of those things that you put up there. None of them have anything to do with me. I am the psychologist in the room. I'm also a qualified hypnotherapist. So I figured I had two options here to wake you up. The one was mass hypnosis, which could be really fun, but could also be dangerous and probably unethical. Or we could do some brain gym. And I thought maybe we do some brain gym and actually just wake ourselves up a little bit. So I'm going to ask you to stand up. Have a bit of a stretch. You've been sitting for a while. Yeah, that's it. Move yourselves back a little bit. So you've got some room. That's it. And what I'm going to need you to do, which is going to be interesting because I have to hold a mic at the same time, but I want you to have enough room that you can stretch your arms out either side and not stick your finger in the ear of the person next to you. That's it. Stretch out, move, use the room. Use the room. That's it. Peter, you can move over. That's it. More. Okay. You're going to have to move around a little bit because you're bunched up there. Okay. All right. I'm going to put the mic down. Alex. Derek Matthews is our resident farmer and he knows how to feed a horse. You know how to feed a horse? Flat hand. I want flat hand. You're going to take your right finger, hold it up. All right, right, good. Now put it in the palm of the person on your right. Right. Standing up. That's it. Now you've got to figure yourselves up. Like this. Like this. Like this. That's it. Okay, work yourselves around. Everybody got it? Yeah. So you've got somebody's finger in one hand and you've got your finger in somebody else's hand. Yeah. Okay. On the count of 3, you're going to do 2 things. You're going to grab that finger and you're going to release your own. Ready? Flat hand. Flat hand. Oh. Let go on the count of 1, 2, 3. That's only half of it. Left finger. Other left. Judy, other left. Left. Yeah, that's it. Left finger, left palm.
Left finger, right palm.
Right finger, right palm. Left finger into the right palm. So that's it. Flat hand. Feeding horses. Flat hands. 1, 2, 3. All right, you can sit down. You should be feeling slightly more revived. Not quite as much fun as mass hypnosis. For me, anyway. While you were doing that, my magic fairy has been handing out a little notebook. Thank you. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Karen Wellman. I'm the managing director of Callio Consulting, which is the other arm of Callio Capital over there. This is Bianca, who literally runs everything we do. You will be spending time with her tomorrow. She's much more fun than me. So, living the diversified life, this incredible topic that I've been given. Most conversations about wealth focus on money, markets, strategies, and you're going to be hearing a lot of that over the next couple of days. That's what you want to hear. But the truth is that money doesn't exist in isolation. It exists in the hands of people. And wealth is only truly sustainable when we are able to align human behavior and strategies. So when we bring a deeply human awareness to your relationship with wealth, then those conversations become about more than just money. They become conversations around security, creativity, freedom, and the ability to live a life of meaning. And that's the real definition of wealth. So living a diversified life goes beyond diversified assets. It looks at cultivating balance across all areas of your life, obtaining the freedom of choice, and being able to generate growth that impacts both your financial and your personal well-being. And that's where we come into the equation. So let's start with an assessment of your current diversified assets. And you'll find that on page 2. This is a tool that some of you may have come across in coaching or in therapy or in counseling or at school. It's called the Wheel of Balance. And it measures the areas of capital, human capital, in your life, whether it's spiritual or social or intellectual or health. Take a pen and determine where in this wheel you currently sit. From 1, which is the inner circle, to 10, which is the outer circle. 1 is least satisfied, 10 is perfectly satisfied. So take a moment and shade in your own wheel of balance from 1 to 10. As you are today, 1 is least satisfied, 10 is perfectly satisfied. Got one left-hander in the room. That's fascinating. Oh, I'm not counting you. Sorry, married to a left-hander. You should end up with a picture that looks a little bit like this, with a shaded in area. Yeah. That's yours. What's coming up for you? How smooth is your ride at the moment? If this represented the wheel that has to carry you through life, how bumpy is that road? How inflated is that wheel? Sorry, Derek? It's got one big flat spot. Lucky you. Just one. People put a lot of emphasis on the parts of their wheel that are fully inflated. If you're sitting at a 9 or a 10, and that's great. But if you've got a 9 and a 10 followed by a 4 or a 5, and then a 6 and then a 3, as that wheel turns, whatever is currently sitting at 9 or 10 runs the risk of bursting. Too much emphasis, too much pressure is going onto the most inflated part of your wheel. So that is actually at risk. And this is what we tend to do. We tend to put all our efforts and all our energies into certain parts of our life. And obviously it's circumstantial. None of this is done consciously. But take a moment to pay attention to the parts of your wheel that are fully inflated and how you can bring balance by inflating the others. Which area would you like to focus on right now? Some people are still busy coloring. Next time we need pencils, Scott. My Enneagram type 1s are not coloring in because they don't want to mess up the book. We'll give you another copy, I promise. We will send this to you afterwards. Any thoughts, any questions, any comments before I move on from this? It's a fun activity to do. And you are welcome to go and discuss the implications of what this means with your own therapist or your coach or your counselor, because as useful as it might be, it doesn't really tell us a lot about who you are. It tells us about where you are today and the areas of life that you'd like to improve on, but it doesn't tell us how you got here. It tells us nothing about your story, about what brought you to this point, about why that part of your wheel is so much more inflated than the rest. It's useful only up to a point. And in the same way, it's about as useful as a financial needs analysis that you would do with a financial investor, a financial advisor. It's a snapshot of where you are now. But beyond that, it's limited. We are much more interested in the story behind how you got to where you are today. And that's my role. My role is to optimize the human capital side of the wealth equation. So I thought I would share a personal story to give you my own perspective of living a diversified life. So this time last year, September, must have been just after I did Scott's feedback session. Maybe, link. Anyway, Garth and I were returning from a holiday in the UK where we had been visiting family, taking a much needed break. And on the flight back from Heathrow to Cape Town, while we were eating dinner and watching a movie, I suffered a cardiac event. And I came to with an oxygen mask on my face and the emergency flight doctor standing over me, and it was absolute chaos. This resulted in us having to make an emergency landing in Accra, Ghana, of all places. And it delayed the flight by 5 hours, 400 other passengers on board that airplane. 5 hours while they stabilized me enough to get me off the airplane and onto the ambulance with everybody looking out of the windows. Spent the weekend in a hospital in Accra, where until they did every single test imaginable, and then they deemed me fit to fly back to Cape Town, where I went to Christian Barnard and the cardiac ICU. Now, I tell you this story because the question is, how are you today? How are you really? What are your energy levels like? What is your sense of vitality? How resilient are you feeling? How well do you cope with change? And how does all of this impact the decisions that you are making right now and for the foreseeable future? Because how you are is going to have a massive impact on what you decide to do from an investment point of view and why. It's probably no coincidence that this is the year that I turned 50. Massive milestone for all of us, this half century, with all of the shifts and the changes that comes with that. Both of our daughters have also flown the nest, with our eldest going into her own massive milestone. She's getting married in November, and we actually just found out right now that they've been approved for their very first home. This brings us to the question, where are you? Where are you in your life's journey? What life stage are you in? What generation do you resonate with? What generations are you engaging with? Are you experiencing value clashes at home? Nods, thank you. Are you challenging your own value systems? Scott spoke about Society 5.0, 5.0. Did you know that for the first time in human history, we have 5 generations active at the same time? That's never happened before. What does that mean? What does that mean not just globally? What does that mean not just for the economy? What does it mean for us? We're living in families with 5 active generations. How does this impact the decisions and the choices that you are making? How does this impact your financial situation and the investments that you are considering and why you are here today? My own health crisis had a massive impact, not only on my family, but as a business owner, on my incredible team. They were forced to step up and manage the clients' and customers' expectations to ensure that there was no disruption to what they expected from us. We had to renegotiate our roles, our expectations of each other, more so because my working hours were drastically reduced. And for obvious reasons, I had to manage a complete flight ban. I'm still refusing to ever get on an aeroplane ever again. Kelly, we're not going to Portugal. See, I'm not going to Portugal. This brings us to the question of what are you? What are the roles that you're juggling? Leader, caretaker, partner, provider, problem solver? What are the different hats that you wear? How do those jostle for your attention? Which one has the highest priority right now? You can't wear more than one hat at the same time. How does this impact your priorities and your goals? How does it impact your wheel of balance? Where are you putting all of your energies? And how does this determine the decisions that you are making? The biggest lesson for me out of this whole thing is that I had to learn how to relinquish control. Yeah, I know. My life strategy, my survival strategy has always been to maintain control so that I can be there for others. That's who I am. I'm available, I'm accessible, I'm a helper. I want to help everybody else. It's why I chose the work that I do. It's where I find relevance and value and a sense of safety. It also helps me to overcome my greatest emotional fear, shame. This experience took me from a place of control to one of absolute surrender. It took me from utter shame at having been the person who brought an aeroplane down. Garth was begging them, please, you do not understand my wife. Do not bring the aeroplane down. Shame at bringing an aeroplane down, shame at inconveniencing 400 other people. My cardiologist was on that aeroplane. We've since met 3 other people who were on that aeroplane. I'm not going to tell you which aeroplane it was in case you were on it. I'm really sorry. The first thing my cardiologist said to me was, do you know they didn't give us breakfast? It took me from shame to acceptance. I had to let go. I had to let other people take care of me. I have never had to do that in my whole life. I had absolutely no control over what was happening to me. And that's the final part of this equation, which is the why you are. Why do you show up the way you do? Why do you behave the way you do? Why do you make decisions the way you do? What is the underlying fear? What is that emotion that you are trying to escape and have been since you were tiny? What is the role that you play in your family, and why is that part of your life strategy? What would it take for you to let that go? And once we are able to examine these 4 parts of us, the 4 parts of us, where you are, how you are, what you are, and why you are right now, because this is changing all the time. Once you're able to examine all of that, it will bring you to your who, your essential self. And that's the person that we need to understand before we partner with you from an investment point of view. These are the things we need to know about you so that we can align the financial decisions that we make with your essential self and what is most important to you. We call this the Calio intelligence model. That's the fancy psychological technical term. But for me, it links perfectly to what Scott was saying earlier about the different societies. Here's something you'll find interesting, she says, hopefully. Scott mentioned that society 1.0 was the hunter-gatherer. Do you know that research is showing that the characteristics, the traits that secured survival in the hunter-gatherer time were hyperactivity, hyperfocus, creativity, impulsivity, and distractibility. What does that sound like? ADHD. Huh? Those were the characteristics that ensured survival in the hunter-gatherer era. They're not new. They've got nothing to do with red Smarties, which is what we believed for so many years, that it had to do with dye. It doesn't. It's part of human nature. It just didn't fit with what the other economies and societies required. We look at the agrarian economy, which Scott touched on too, and there it was survival of the fittest, the person who could work the longest hours in the field. Huh, Derek Matthews? Yeah. What have you learned about turning 50, Derek? Don't get on ladders. His doctor told him, after 50, no more climbing on roofs. If you do, stay on the roof. The knowledge economy was survival of the most intelligent. That's where IQ was lauded and praised, and the ability to focus, and left brain dominant. We went into the connection economy. Do you remember the whole, it's not what you know, it's who you know? In truth, all of these intelligences are important. There is not one that is dominant. There is none that is more important than the other. And in Society 5.0, we need all of them. We're dialing them up. We're also scaling back when one threatens to dominate another. So the intelligence model asks you, what more do you need to know? Scott spoke about feeling stuck. What do you need to know? What information do you need in order to make strategic decisions? That speaks to IQ. Are you experiencing tension in your relationships at home or at work or with your partner? What emotional insights do you need to be made aware of in order to find, thank you, Scott, trust? Trust sits in the emotional quotient. Doesn't matter how much information I give you, it's not going to ensure that you trust me. Are you feeling overwhelmed? Are you feeling that you're unable to deal with the kind of change that you know has to happen to get you out of the status quo? What do you need to find agility? How do you get over that? Right. That's AQ. What's your resilience baseline? We can assess that. And are you feeling disconnected? Are you feeling disconnected from your life purpose, from your goals, from a sense of meaning? What do you need to get you back to feeling driven and energized, to finding your mojo? So, yes, diversification is important, but what that really means is a diversification of intelligences to get you to a place where you can think clearly, you can connect deeply, you can live a life of meaning, and you can adapt with ease. And this is how we find your aspirational self, your who, the person that we want to partner with. For us, that's what we mean by HP squared. It's a high-performing person. And all of us are aiming to get there. You're going to be introduced to this tomorrow. The wonderful Bianca is going to take you through this. You're going to love it. There is information on this in your little psychology books there. This is the model that we use to better understand you so that we can align our financial decisions with your essential self. This tells us your, for want of a better term, investor profile. It tells us about your risk appetite. It tells us about how you make decisions. It tells us about what makes you feel a sense of purpose, how you process information, what makes you feel safe. The wealth EQ. Actually, I want to do something quickly. Just out of interest, because it suddenly struck me. Can you all see that? Yeah? How many born between 1946 and 1961, please? Hands up. Hands up, own it. You are the wealthiest generation on the planet at the moment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Born between 1961 and 1980. There we go. There are my X's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Born between 1980 and 1996. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1996 and 2010. Yeah. 3. And after 2010. Look at that, guys. 5 generations, 1 room. And you're all here for the same reason. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? Baby boomer, 1946. Generation X. Millennials. Gen Z. And the Alpha generation. That's cool. Thank you. Hey? Came after Gen Z, I guess. I don't know. I didn't name them. But they're alphas, and the next lot are betas. There are betas, by the way. There are betas. These are South African dates. So they're slightly different across the world. But yeah, South African, those are our 5 generations. And of course, there are still some silent generation. They're just, we don't see them as economically active. So we don't include them. But yeah, 5 in 1 room, that's amazing. Thank you for being here. So to conclude, we see our role as walking alongside you as you unlock and awaken these intelligences within yourself, as you understand and access all the forms of capital in your life. Kallio means the flame within. It's a Greek word. It's the little pilot light in those old-fashioned paraffin lamps. We see it as our responsibility to identify that in every person who partners with us, to fan that flame, to keep it alive, to grow it, and then to keep it burning. As you start to navigate this path, as you take a step towards understanding your aspirational self, the who you are, that has brought you here today. It's the bridge between psychology and wealth. And we wouldn't contemplate starting this journey with you without understanding this about you first. So we really look forward to engaging with all of you over the next couple of days. Please come and chat to us. Happy to answer any questions. This for us is the key to creating confidence, reducing conflict, and unlocking real strategies that will work for you. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. So one of the things that I think you're going to find very different about us and this weekend, and to be quite frank, the entire solution, is that okay. So I'm super excited to bring up the next surprise. And for some of you, you're in for a real surprise. And why I say that is that, am I allowed to share yet what we're doing, Cobus? No. Okay. So back to what Karen just shared with you about understanding yourself. There's two parts to this. Now, how many of you would understand the concept of, let's just say that this one light over here is Hell Island. Like this is where this is pain. This is something you don't want. And over here is Heaven Island. This is what you want. This is all the stuff you want in your life. Now, how much percentage do you think, like if I'm standing here in the middle, what drives you in terms of your decisions? Is it the pain? Do you want to move away from your pain? Or do you want to move towards your pleasure? Which one is it? Away from the pain. Who else? Away from the pain. So you know what's interesting? And I learned this from Tony Robbins. Statistically, you move 4 times more away from your pain than you do towards your pleasure. So one of the greatest things that you need to figure out in your life is what creates more pain for you than most things. Come on, be honest with yourself. What creates most pain? One of the, it's almost self-inflicted pain. Going to the gym. I would say it's fear. It's fear of going to talk to that person. It's fear of investing. It's fear of making a mistake. And one of the greatest gifts I was given at a very young age, I don't know how or why my father managed to indoctrinate with me in this, but he said the greatest risk in life is to risk nothing. And you know, so many people are living a life of mediocrity because they fear what could go wrong. I mean, you spoke about an abundance mindset. So where we're going to go now is I want to introduce you to a very good friend of mine. And this gentleman's an amazing, amazing, amazing soul. You're in for a real treat. And what he's going to be sharing with you is the concept of fear and how we can break through our fears. Because from a mindset perspective, if we can break through some of our limiting beliefs tonight, then imagine what we can create on Wednesday, Thursday, and into the lives ahead of us. Is that fair? So I first met Kobus many years ago, and I actually don't even know Kobus how many years ago. Hey, do you remember? 2016, so nearly a decade ago. And I've had the privilege of working with him. I've had the privilege of being part of the stuff that he's done. And we've often said to each other, how could we work more together? Because he brings such a beautiful energy to everything he does. And I'm a big believer in life that, you know, sometimes you just meet those people that they're living their true purpose, like they're a gift to the planet. And for me, dude, you're one of those people. So I really honor you. And so it's without any further ado, because I really want to get you up here, that it was with so much gratitude that I reached out to Kobus multiple times. I've said, hey, you should come to this Wealth Weekend. It'll be amazing. And him and Kelly finally arranged him to actually be here. And let's just say that this is the best kept secret that I don't know how it has not got out. But without further ado, I am super excited to invite Kobus up here to give you a real treat and a real surprise. Over to you, Kobus. This one. Awesome.
If I have to ask you a question, right? Have you ever said the words, I will do my best? Okay, a lot of times, am I right? Do you know every time you lie when you say those words? Because the thing is, it's easy to say, I will do my best. However, it's easy to then have an excuse why we don't have what we want. Oh, no, Kobus, I did do my best, but, you know, it's because of our government and the policies that they done. You know, it's easy to just blame shift. Am I right? Yes or yes? Oh, it's to justify, you know, I've been grown up in the wrong area of the train tracks, you know. We justify all of why we don't. But at least I did my best. However, you know, the dice didn't fall right for me. Am I right? However, tonight I'm going to teach you the philosophy around whatever it takes. If I say whatever it takes, can I have an excuse? Anyone? No or no? Can I blame anyone? No or no? No. You have to take accountability and responsibility. You are where you are today because of the choices and decisions you've made. Now, before I tell you a little bit, you just heard a little bit what Scott said. You know, when I met him, I was sitting in the audience, and it was at a guy by the name of Roger Hamilton. Have you ever heard of Roger Hamilton? And so I was sitting there, and this Roger now called up this one guy called Scott. And he was like, oh, this is our next future, you know, around wealth migrate and wealth and abundance he's built. And I'm like, wow. Yes, wouldn't it be nice to one day stand next to him on stage, right? I remember thinking of that. It's 10 years later, and we've done it now a few times. The thing is, everything is like being like a farmer. Any farmers in the room? At least there's one or two. So it's easy, right? We just go out, find a piece of land, and we plant seed. Am I right? No, it's not that easy, right? So first we need to understand the land where we're going to plant our seeds. Am I right? Because an apple seed can't plant in the same area probably as a avo seed. I'm just going to give examples now. I might be wrong, but just go with my flow. So you first need to understand where you're going to plant the seed. If the seed I'm planting, is the land right for the seed I'm planting? Is the weather going to be right for the seed that I'm going to plant, right? So you have to prepare all of this. And then when you are ready, you get your seed, you get a team, because the thing is, if you don't have a team, you can only plant a certain amount of seed, am I right? Right, so you have to have technology, mechanisms, or a big team to be able to do a big land to plant the seed. Now we're getting ready to plant the seed, right? But there's no rain. It's dry. They call it the dry season, right? So the farmer says, "Now I will only plant when the rain comes." Am I right? Some farmers. But what do? They plant in faith. Am I right? As if the rain. Because if I don't plant, I can't wait until the next season. Am I right? I have to now go faith that the rain will come. I wait until the last moment, and then I have to go plant the seed. Now you plant the seed, right? Tomorrow I have my harvest. Am I right? He laughs at me. At least someone laughs at me. But that's what we all want. We want wealth. We want, like, I'm going to plant the seed tomorrow, and I'm going to be nice and rich tomorrow. Am I right? Yes or yes? It's quick results. We want McDonald's. We want it now. However, certain seed takes certain amount of time before it gives you a harvest. So you need to understand the type of seed that I plant, that I have to have the patience. I have to look after it. Some seed needs more attention than other. Am I right? However, it will also give you different kinds of results and income as well, depending on what you've planted. But now you look after it. Now, this is where whatever it takes comes in. If you've known you've done everything that you needed to do, then you walk by faith and says, I've done whatever it takes. No stone left unturned. And then that's where, for me, faith comes in. And I call it miracles. I call it magic. Anyone here believes in magic? Yes, magic happens. Because it's just that last minute when the farmer thinks it's never going to rain again. You know, they all believe it. And then it starts raining. And then they dance in the rain, and they're all excited. I just spoke to a lady outside, 97 years old. She's a history teacher, taught history in the UK. And for the last 5 years, it was her whole life she wanted to come to South Africa. Every time putting it off. Because then it was COVID. Then family doesn't want her to go because she's in her 90s. Who's going to travel in their 90s to South Africa, of all places? Then her friend was supposed to come with, and the last minute her friend got sick and couldn't come with. Think about this, ladies. 97, all alone, coming to South Africa, now traveling. She just came from Hermanus. She's sleeping here tonight. 97. The words to me is, Kobus, we were chatting, and she says, don't be like this old auntie. And I said, why? She says, don't wait for your 97 years to go and live and experience. At least I can do it, but my friend couldn't come with. And if I know now, I was so scared to come because everyone made me so scared to come to South Africa. Like, it's so beautiful. Like, why did I feel into that fear and believed it so much so that I never said, but what if? See, it's the what ifs that actually stops us from doing what we need to do. The what if it doesn't work out? What if I don't get it? I had all the what ifs in my world. Because I'm not English, I'm Afrikaans. Any Afrikaans people in the room? They will get it. Yes. Some of us speak English very delicious. Now, I've spoken it. I know it's that delicious. But I've spoken it since I've been twice. It looks like I know I'm exaggerating with my pronunciation. That's what everyone says, but that's how I say it. And when I say exaggerating, I say at least you're all on the same page as me and we can archive it in the past, right? I have all the excuses not to speak on stages because of my language, my English. But before I tell you a little bit more about me, I want to know a little bit about you in the room. Do you have a pen and paper in front of you? I want you to quickly write down, what is your top 3 favorite animals? It can be any animal. It can be an insect. It can even be An animal like that doesn't exist, like a unicorn or a dragon or whatever. Quickly write down your 3 top animals. And in your mind, you can start thinking about why did you choose that animal? You know, some characteristics. You can write it down, maybe one, but just ponder at the moment, why did you choose those 3 animals? It's good and bad. And I promise you, when you start thinking about your animal, you don't realize the power of what's behind that animal. So I'm going to quickly go around the room, and I want you just don't give me the characteristics. Otherwise, we're going to be here the whole night. I want to know what is the top 3 animals, and I want you all to sort of listen. Usually with sales teams, the top 2 animals is always the same. It's the weirdest thing. Right? They all like the same animals because they're in sales. I would love to see what is all of the animals that's going to come out here. It's probably all over the place. Okay, are you ready? We're going to start. So listen to their 3 animals. If you like someone in the audience here, right, and you want to connect with them later, write down their 3 animals. I will tell you the secret right now. Okay. I will tell you the secret right now. Okay. So as I point to you, just your 3 animals. Let's go. First, yes. Okay, it's good. The second one? Elephant. Stick insect. I know which one you're talking. Yes. Oh, beautiful. The second one? Shark. Okay. Hmm? Ooh. Wow. See that? Ooh, beautiful. Good. Jokie nogal. Okay, before we get there, I'll come to you there at the back. Oh, yeah, you can go. Oh, nice. Love it. I can see that. You first, Alex. Yours first, and then some of the online. Before you go there, mine is a lion a dragon and a wolf online. They can't hear. Oh, they couldn't hear the group. Oh, okay. So what I will send to you after today, I will get my team. There's a sort of a description what you can put on and you can really analyze it more in depth, right? So what it does, it's a personality test. It tells me more about you without you telling me anything, right? How it works, it's almost a 90% success and they all use it. It's a nice game to play with your friends, with people you know. I like it because it gives me good insight. Now, there's the good and the bad with it, you know, different characteristics. So the first animal is you showing up to the world and putting up the mask and look and say, look at me, this is who I am. Okay. This is how you want to be. You want to be seen like that. That's the dress code you put on, you know. This is who I am. But the second animal is when you show up, is actually how people experience you. I see some laughter. I see there's some good laughter. But the third animal is who you really are. Now, there's good and bad, and I will give you, and you can tomorrow start playing around with it on AI to really go a little bit more in depth about it. But it's sort of, when I do this with people and I send them the results, it's like, wow, it's like, that's me. Because you need to understand also, if you don't live to your true potential, right, that you might be the elephant that have ended up in the circus with only a rope holding them back and they forget how powerful they are made. You can be the lion for those who chose lions, for example, but you ended up being in a circus where you've lost your dignity, your confidence, who you really are. And if you think about from a dog, from fish, from birds, are you locked up from your true potential or are you living to your true potential? Because is it okay if I now share a little bit about me with all of you? Can I get some hands? Yes, I want you to buy in. Yes. Now I'm going to sell. I need to sell to you what we're going to do, right? Now, 2015 to 2018, my whole future, my destiny was to be in a wheelchair. For 4 years, the only way I could move around was either in a wheelchair or those crutches that goes underneath your elbows. Give you an idea, I lived 24/7 in pain. I said yes to something today and I realized, damn, I feel so sorry for my team. Now I realize what they go through, right? And you will know soon what I'm talking about. My destiny was to be in a wheelchair. You might ask me why, so let me give you an example. If anyone, is any doctors in the room, by the way? Just want to see if there's any doctors. Anyone that can read x-rays type of thing? Anyone? Okay, looks like you don't get enough doctors here, Scott. Yeah, no, I think they lose out. So I was born as a hemophiliac. Anyone knows what a hemophiliac is? Oh, okay, there's a few. Who doesn't know what a hemophiliac is? Okay, there's a few of you as well. Now, what a hemophiliac is, it's a bleeder. It means my blood doesn't clot, and because of all the bleedings over the years, it affected my joints. Give you an example, take one of your elbows and make it as straight as possible. There's, for example, my right one. Touch your shoulder, can't touch my shoulder. It's like palms down, palms up, can't do palms up. Now, I see this gentleman has big muscles. I don't have joints. I have to give myself an injection there, a clotting factor on every second day. I have a big cut on next to my head, almost died with a bleeding on the brain 2 times. The doctor said, Kobus, I woke up one morning in 2015 and I couldn't walk. Now, usually I inject myself, it takes about 2 days, then I can start using my joints again. But because of all of the bleedings over the years, my joints have disintegrated. There's no more cartilage, there's no more, it's bone on bone. Actually, I've lost 4 centimeters in height with my ankles. The doctor says, it's bone on bone. There is no more ankle. I'm not supposed to be able to walk in front of you. And yet I'm standing in front of you today, and I'm going to share with you that story. Because I'm doing it because of what this disability, if you have to call it, has put on my path. So I woke up one morning, I can't walk. My first son gets born. I get to the hospital, and I can't even pick up my own son. Can't play with my son. He starts growing up. Being a hemophiliac, there's just certain things I stopped doing, I just couldn't do. I'm living, like I said, 24/7 in pain. Tonight I will feel it when I lie with my ankles up again. That is my reality, you all agree. The doctor said, Kobus, you have to get both your ankles fused, both your elbows replaced. And here I'm standing, not being able to pick up my own son. And as he grows up, expecting our second child, and as the second child grows up, the second child is on his way. We don't know if it's a boy or a girl. And my son, my oldest son, draws the following picture. I want to show you. Do I show the camera there? This one. Just want to show them that they can at least see it. Make a mental note, everyone. I'm going to run around, right? You all see there's a picture of, right, a cross over me and a cross over babies. Can you all see? You can look afterwards. So you draw this picture. Let me just go around. Cross over me, cross over the one baby. I'm going to tell you now what it means. Okay. We'll see. You draw this and at the bottom. Cross over me. I'll tell you now what it meant. This was the biggest change in my life. I will have the books here so you can check it later as well. He was drawing this. Let's see. Right, I know I'm going fast. It's just so that you see I have it. Okay. Put it in the group. Yeah. Okay. So that moment that changed my life. Now you're going to have an opportunity tonight that's going to transform your life. That was my moment. I was 4 years old. And I come out of a family business. When I joined our family business, I thought that was my direction. My dad left the police in 1994. We built the family furniture business in Limpopo. We went from basically a bakkie that we would wholesale to over R1 billion business in today's time. My brother is now the CEO. I thought that was my future. I thought I'm living it. I have success, I have everything. And that moment when my son drew that changed everything. He had a cross over the one baby and he says, Daddy, I don't want a little sister. I want a little brother that can play with me because you can't. And the words that changed my life forever was when he came to me and he said, Dad, you are dead to me. If it was not for those words, I will not be standing here today. I never knew anything about personal development and all of this. I just knew of working. And suddenly I had this reflection of what is my life worth? Is this my life? It's my purpose. And in this reflection, I wanted to give up, and I got to invited to be a wealth weekend like this, actually. You know, it's by a friend of mine, Hannes Dreyer, and we were sitting there, and we're going to have an experience. And there was something on this journey that was taught to me, and I would love to teach that to you if that is okay. It's my way of paying it forward. But for that, I need a volunteer in front. I'm an introvert. I never thought in my life I'm going to speak in front of people. And yet here I'm on a journey learning something. And something that I started teaching that not only transformed my life and my relationship with my son, where that a few years later you draw a picture in the book of a guy with a Superman on, and he says, Dad, I just want to say you're alive. And one way of to do it is to realize it's not about you. It's your journey. But what can you give to others? What is your legacy? Now, legacy means a lot of things. One of the legacies I also like to talk about is when you leave someone, do you leave them better than what you found them? And some of you might not like what I'm going to teach you now, because there's some people that have their personal space. They don't like it. Then there's others that enjoy this. And I usually say to those that enjoy it, just keep giving it to others. And those who don't really enjoy it, remember, it's not about you. You don't know who might need it. So the first step is when you ever walk towards someone is to first at least make eye contact. In South Africa, we have a beautiful word called sawubona that means I see you. We sit in a rush that we don't always make time for the other people in our life where they just see you. And when you see each other, now comes the next thing is we're not going to kiss, by the way, even though that might be nice, we're not going to do that. Please don't kiss. It's not allowed. But what is on this side of the body? A heart. It's to give heart-to-heart hugs. Now, I want to just show you, if you give you a hand, this is how men like to hug. Have you seen this? Why? Because look how far is our hearts. Because why? Men needs to be strong, can't be vulnerable, so they want to protect. I'm strong. The best place to be strong is to open your vulnerability and say, here I am. Because if you want to receive, you need to give. So it's important when we hug, we're going to hug heart to heart. And then when we hug at that moment, we just breathe in. Can we all breathe in? And breathe out. Can I give you a hug? It's nice, eh? I even put a smile on her face. If you know the person, and I say usually your family, you do that for 20 seconds or longer, and the brain releases serotonin. If you don't know the person, don't just start hugging them like that. They're going to think you're weird, right? Just first tell them, can I teach you something? Is it okay? You see her? She said, yes, I can teach her anything I want to now, because she said yes. And then you just say, I was at this workshop and I've learned to hug. Can I teach you how to hug? And you say, the first step, I just want to say, I see you, sawubona. Second step is, I'm going to hug your heart. And when we hug, is it okay if we breathe in? It's how easy it is, because now we're making a difference. So quickly stand up, give 3 people a hug, and then sit down. Eye contact, eyes to eyes, heart to heart. Sawubona. Breathe in, breathe out. Yeah, we're hugging, we're hugging. Yeah. People are hugging. Wow. Okay, quickly. Give your 3 hugs and sit down. How many of you enjoyed that? Can you see the energy in the room change? And smile on your face. You're gonna be lucky. So now I do this in corporate a lot. So when I do work with Manco and Exco teams, I always start a meeting with hugging. There's always someone that doesn't like me. Oh, here comes the hugger again. No, we're gonna hug before we start. Then I work with a lot of sports teams. There's one year in PE that I used to work with in 2017, and we're called the Sudden Kings. They were seen as the worst of the worst. And when I started with them, Before every game, guess what they have to do? Hug. Yes, like they didn't like me, eh? I said, no, you want to start winning games? We need to change the culture. We need to create the dynamic that we are one team, one band, one sound. So they started giving hugs. But there's something that they adopted in that journey that I want to ask you. So hugging is one part of it. It's about building connection. Right? And the next step is to understand the following quote. Let me teach you the quote first. It's by this famous lawyer that comes from South Africa. He was a big shot in South Africa. Then he went to another country and he changed the whole country. He brought in new laws. He became a guru. Man, this was an amazing guy. You know, different continents, different things. But he had this one quote that I live by. We would love you to walk away this next few days creating their destiny, their wealth blueprint, everything. Walk away and you know what you want, right? Your destiny, it's in your hands. Now, it starts with beliefs. How many of you believe our economy is the best it's ever been in South Africa, for example? You have a lot of work, brother. You have a lot of work. They don't even believe that. How are they going to believe whatever you're going to show them? Beliefs is important. How many of you believe broken glass cuts? How many of you believe fire burns? Why? Because of you probably experienced it in your life, right? Or the possibility of getting hurt. Because our beliefs then become our thoughts. Now, I want to see if they read books in this room. As a man thinketh. Hey, well done, you guys read the books. Yes, so easy, right? Your thoughts, your beliefs influence your thoughts. Your thoughts then become your words. No, first your words. Because life and death is in the power of the tongue. Yeah, good. What are we sowing with our words? Because our words then are followed by our actions. If I have a negative beliefs, like the economy is bad and everything is going down the drain and what is my thought process like? What is my words like? And then what's my actions like? Is it good or bad? Can I take more risks when I'm in a negative space? No, I want to protect everything. But if I'm positive and I'm all excited, can I take more calculated risks? Yes. Because you see opportunities and possibilities everywhere. Because then our actions become our habits. The more we do it, we create that strong neural network that anything is possible. And then our habits become our value system. What is your values? Anyone here knows what their top 3 values are? Integrity and family and loyalty. It's important to know your values because that then leads to your destiny. You attract the people in your life that are similar and like values. But if you don't live by your values, you get tested by your values. If you say integrity, guess what? A captain says, I want to be a captain. Is he going to get storms, yes or no? Yes. You're going to be trained. Do you really want integrity in your life, right? And can you stand it? Do you have a standard that you live by? Because if I don't stand for anything I fall for, so what is that standard you want to set down? So here's the thing is, I woke up one morning and I couldn't walk. Oh, by the way, that was by Mahatma Gandhi that said that quote. I woke up one morning and I can't walk. I go to the doctor. The doctor said, Kobus, you have to get both your ankles replaced and both your elbows replaced. It's a 2-year journey. And I said, I can't do that. Why? Because I haven't used every knowledge, every advantage, every healing thing that I could to be able to see if I can heal myself. Now I'm sitting in a wheelchair. I'm motivating people from a wheelchair, and then sometimes in crutches. And then I take them to what we're going to do now, and then they look at me and says, is that why you're in a wheelchair? But in 2018, I said to myself, I'm going to write a book after the experience. 6 years later, I always had the excuse, no, I can't write a book. I'm not very good at my English and writing. I wasn't really good at school with that. You see, all of the excuses, all the justifications. And I said to myself, what if I die today? How many of you would love to go to your bookshelf and take out a book that was written by your dad or your mother or your grandfather or grandmother to read their lessons and learnings? And I'm like, imagine, I even got my dad not convinced to write a book. Because the thing is, when you are gone, this is sometimes that is the only thing that is left. And I said to myself, I have to write a book. Because what if I die today? And so my journey started while I wrote this book. I went through a divorce in 2017. Can't walk, go through divorce. I'm a coward to take my own life. And suddenly one night I saw on a TV program that there was a guy climbing a mountain by the name of Kilimanjaro. A racing driver. And he passed away. He's very fit. And I imagine if I climb this mountain and do it with my crutches, I might not get far, right? And that became my purpose, to go climb that mountain. And I went to climb that mountain in 2018 to die. I did that whole mountain in my crutches, pushing myself to my limits. I want you to think, do you have a pen and paper there in front of you? What is it you want? What is that legacy you want to build? What is that mountain you want to climb? I want you to write it to yourself. In the next 12 months, what will be your mountain? If we are here again 12 months from now, what would you like to have achieved? Quickly write down for me. Write down. Dear Kobus Visser, now your own name. Dear your own name. In a year's time now, I'm looking back and the following I set out to achieve, and I achieved the following. And what did you achieve? What did you do? What did you experience? What book did you read? What wealth course did you buy and followed? What did you do to get what you needed to do? Write quickly that letter to yourself. Write it down, because you're going to keep that. You're going to either throw it away in a few moments, and I will tell you how, or you're going to take a photo and keep it, or you're going to leave it in your book, whatever you decide. So just quickly write to yourself, what is it you want in 12 months from now? You all still have your phones, right? Okay. Anyone wants more time? Good. Who in this room, and I want to hear a yes, is willing to do whatever it takes to achieve that? And I don't hear you. You don't sound excited what you wrote down. Like, I want to feel it. I don't feel you saying, are you willing to do whatever it takes to achieve that? Are you willing to do whatever it takes to achieve that? I ask you, are you sure you are committing to doing Whatever it takes. No excuses, no blaming, no matter what comes up, right? Are you sure? Because for that, whatever it takes, I have an armband that says whatever it takes, right? But then you have to commit to doing whatever it takes. All right, there's even a heart on it to remind you to live with purpose, with passion, and with love, baby. We need love in our life. But are you sure? I want everyone to hear you. I want first part of the year is yes when I say, are you sure you want to do whatever it takes? I can't hear. Yes. Okay. You've said you are willing to do. Read again what you are willing to do to get. I want you to make sure what you've written down is what you wanted to do. So I didn't bring my slideshows. But during the time at the Southern Kings, I met this amazing player. 25 years old, nobody gave him a shot. He comes from Boland, border, there in East London. Nobody gave him a shot. Ask him what do you want to do. He said he doesn't have any family. He would love to be a Springbok one day. But everyone says he's too old. He's freaking playing on a wing. Wing needs to be fast. They're usually young. And so we take him on a journey and say, you can create any destiny. Yeah, but I'm playing at the Southern Kings. Now, people, if you don't know rugby, Southern Kings was here at the bottom, like 15th team. All of the other players played for all the other teams. So you're number like 15 on the list potential of becoming a Springbok. But we set out with a plan, like a farmer. Sometimes a seed doesn't grow up in the first year. Some seed, like the Chinese bamboo, can take up to 5 years. But he goes out and he becomes a world champion. He becomes another world champion. And if you go Google his name, usually I have a photo on, but I will send it on the WhatsApp group. Yes. I'm going to ask him now. So I was waiting. I was going to ask him now. So say it again, Jonte. Mampimpi. And if you go Google, he wears this still when he scores tries. Either a yellow one or a red one of doing whatever it takes. And he became the third highest try scorer. But if they give him more chances, he can become the second highest. From nowhere. Now imagine he's played a short period of time. If he played a full period of time, he would have been a legend, if he's not already a legend. Are you sure you want to do whatever it takes? Because the thing is, Kelly is going to put a link on the group that we all need to sign. So it's important that you have to sign the liability link that's going to come through, right? Please do that because it allows me to send you the link of how to do the ChatGPT with the lions and the animals. Plus, tells me you can get an armband. So it will take you to an error page once you submit. So the link is going to come on your phone. It's on the group. So quickly go on it. Yes. And then, Kelly, will you, one of your teams in a few minutes just stand out for me the armbands? So it just says that you are sound of mind, that you are not forced to do anything. You will make your choice yourself, right? I will take you through a safe process. I wonder if you all know what we're doing, by the way. But the book says it all. Jonty, can you read it? You can't see it far. Walking through fire. Just want to double check. Everyone did say whatever it takes. Yeah, if you get there, then it's submitted. So, yeah. To make sure that you did, then I know you submitted. That's good. You submitted. Too late to turn back, baby. Too late to turn back. Yeah, someone said they already did it with me last year and it's life changing. Thank you. Now, everyone have their armband on? Put it on. Be proud. Read the words, whatever it takes. Now, I have a few copies here. Later, if you're interested to get a signed copy, I only have my English one here. I've even did it in Afrikaans. It talks a little bit about my climbing journey and then my new branding. My branding is called the Viking, right? And why the Viking? Because the Viking, and this is my 3 values. You all said you have 3 values. Mine first is courage. You have to be courageous. Walking on fire is courageous. It takes courage. Going for your dreams and your goals takes. What we all are looking for and why we do what we do is because we want freedom. We want freedom, right? That's why we are on a wealth course. And then the third thing that is so important for me and can mean so many things is legacy. What is my legacy I'm leaving behind? What is your legacy? Is everyone done? Ooh la la. Did anyone know about what we're going to do by tonight? Or was it, okay, can I, there's one that you've done it before. You know me? Oh, yes. You see, you know, when he saw me, he was laughing. Him like, these people, if only they knew. My shirt gave it away. Yes. But sometimes people don't read. They don't see. Now, again, how important is it for us to let go and go for what we want? The fire is real. The fire is between 400 and 600 degrees Celsius. Aluminium melts at 250. Luckily, there's no doctor here. But at the doctor at 150, you want to go to a doctor. But what is important is from now on, we create our reality. And I want you to realize is there's one word that you're not allowed to say after this tonight. We have to change it because by changing it, we change the reality. When you walk the fire tonight, for those who decide, because again, I forgot my whip. Yo, I was in such a hurry today. I didn't get my whip in. For those that doesn't know if they want to walk or not walk, I will usually help them over. But you have to now make the decision yourself. And I will give you the opportunity to make the decision when we're there. So like nobody is forced. However, opportunities only comes once. What if tonight is the night that you need to walk that, and then you walk, and then you use that B word and you create that reality? You can go look in the dictionary, it doesn't exist there. If I open mine, it's crossed out. The B-U-R-N word. So I don't want to create that reality. So the only thing that you say if you walk, because have anyone walked on a hot tar road before, bare feet? On a hot sand before? It's a little bit hot and it goes away, am I right? Your feet is fine after you're a little bit cooling down. That's all that it is. So I like to say, the fire loves you when that happens. It gives you a kiss. And then I say, usually you can walk a second time and go give it back. Ooh, I like you. There's it, and then you just walk again. That's how easy it is. Now, I'm going to take you through a whole process outside there to prepare you to walk on fire. But you're going to get to, Scott said he's opening the fire for all of us, and he's going to stand on the one side, and he's going to be like this. He's going to be all excited. So when you see that smile, you just walk for that smile, and you give him a hug. It's easy, right? Okay. So when you see that, we're going to all chant ice cold. Can I hear ice cold? Ice cold. Ice cold. So you say ice cold, you hear? Ice cold. You're going to feel ice cold. And maybe the fire likes you, gives you a kiss. And then if a decision, you can keep the kiss and it can become a trophy, or you can just go and give it back. It's up to you. But isn't it worthwhile going for what you want and knowing that it just takes one more step? See, I was in Kilimanjaro, busy dying, sitting there just before summit, and I was dying. And I remember that night, the one thing that stood with me today, as I was there, sitting there, it was pitch black, and I only had a headlamp on. See, in South Africa, we have something called load shedding, chaos. When it's dark, it was like that, right? The only thing I had was my headlamp. And I was complaining about everything to the chief guide. And he says, Kobus, just stop complaining. What's wrong? I said, I don't know where we go. It's minus 17. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. We started at 9 o'clock. We're not at the... He says, Kobus, just focus. I can't show you where we are now. It's dark, dark. There's hardly any stars out, so it's pitch black. He said, but you have your headlamp on. Just look down. And I said, yes. Can you see your next step? I said, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes that's all that we need to do. So what's that next step that I need to give? And keep moving forward. And I was sitting and contemplating about that. And in a sense, I did die on that mountain. And something was left behind. I came back, and every day I'm getting healthier and healthier. You can see I'm standing in front of you without my crutches. The other day, I can now move. My ankles, according to the doctor, by the way, I did for a 3D scan, is worse than what they were 2018, right? Worse. I'm not supposed to be able to do this. I can move. Anyone likes a socky? We can socky later, right? I can even socky again. The limits that we put is only on our mind. So rather than let's focus on what we want to go for. And sometimes it's just the first step is the hardest, and we keep moving forward. And we focus. And when we get to Scott, what we're going to celebrate. But before we walk, we're going to first do a walk cry. Yeah! And we're going to walk ice cold, ice cold. It's easy, right? Okay. That's how easy it is. Now, we're not going to take our shoes off here. We're going to go outside, so we'll all follow a line. We're going to walk all the way to the paddle ports. There's paddle courts. When we get to the paddle courts, we're going to get there. We're going to get the fire ready. We're going to celebrate. I'm going to talk to you. And, oh no, the mic's back again. And Scott is going to talk a little bit. Now, here's the thing is, you're welcome to bring that piece of paper with and put it on the fire if you want to. Take a picture and bring it with if you want to tear it out. Or you don't have to. It's up to you. But if you bring it, just show me that you have it down there so that I can give you opportunity to put it on the fire. Okay. So let's quickly just stand up. Now, can I ask quickly a question? There's a few of you. Who has walked on fire before? Okay, there's a few. Who hasn't walked on fire before? Ah. Now, you're my favorite. Scott, now, they like my fire virgins. You have an opportunity to have your first firewalk experience. Whew, how beautiful, right? Now, let's quickly just breathe in and breathe out. Let's say ice cold, ice cold, ice cold, ice cold. Okay, so what I want you to do is quickly close your eyes. Close your eyes and think about what you wrote down, what you are willing to do, whatever it takes for. I want you to build it. I want you to put emotions around it, feelings, sound, seeing yourself celebrating that. I want you to be excited knowing that you've achieved whatever you set out to achieve. It's me like standing on top of the mountain with my crutches standing there and knowing that I worked so hard to be here and I'm at last year. I want you to just get it in your mind. And then from this today, I want you to sort of, I'm going to count down 3, 2, 1, and I'm going to say, well, give me a war cry, and I want you to shout out loud, how everyone, or yes, or ah, like a warrior cry towards your future self of achieving that. Okay, you're letting your future know you're coming. Okay, let's breathe in. See yourself on the other side of the fire. The fire is the only thing that between you and that future self. 3, 2. Right. Taking a deep breath. And out. Now, in your mind, I want you to imagine you're walking that fire four steps. 1, 2, 3. Let's imagine 4 ice colds. 1, 2, 3. Ice cold, ice cold, ice cold, ice cold. Imagine with your eyes closed, you're in front of Scott. You're giving him a big hug, right? You're hugging him tight. You just walked on fire. You look back in your mind's eye and you see you've just walked on fire. I want you to think about how you're going to celebrate. And I'm going to count down and I want to see excitement. I want to see happiness. See yourself, you just walked on fire. You just achieved your goal. You just told someone what you've achieved. Show me your celebration. Yes, yes, yes. Celebration. Woo! Celebration, yay! That's how amazing it feels. So let's go and get the fire. And who's excited to do whatever it takes? I want to go. Who's excited to do whatever it takes? I want to get 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
If you need a toilet break or anything, there's a toilet right there in that door, and there's 2. To the people online, we're going to say cheers now. This is the one problem with this one. So, yeah, so the people online, this is that moment where I said to you, it's better to be in the room. Unfortunately, there's no way to virtually recreate this experience. I hope you enjoyed today, and go away tonight and think about whatever it takes. Hopefully you've written down what your item is, and then really try and contemplate, coming tomorrow to make it happen. We're going to get started at 9 a.m. SAST. Try to be in the room maybe 5 minutes early. I've asked everyone here to be on time. And most importantly, have a wonderful evening, and we will see you back bright and early tomorrow morning. Hope you enjoyed day 1. We'll see you ready for day 2. Tomorrow we go into deep macro and basically implementing what's important to your world. Try to be in the room maybe 5 minutes early. I've asked everyone here to be on time. And most importantly, have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you back bright and early.